The Coyote Twin, Vermilion's downtown theater. Providing entertainment Thursdays through Sundays.
Tonight on Coyote News, the housing hunt for upperclassmen gets down to the wire.
And Idea Fest celebrates its 35th year. Coyote News starts right now.
Live from the Al Newharth Media Center, this is Coyote News.
This is Coyote News, and I'm Caitlin Sterling.
And I'm Landon DeBoer. Well, it's 90 degrees outside. It's nice and cool here in the studio. AI has some artists looking for inspiration and others criticizing the new tech. But first, don't expect these warm temperatures to stick around. This Friday will be 20 degrees cooler than today. And there's a 50% chance of rain, including the possibility of thunderstorms in the afternoon. A large incoming freshman class and the demolition of both Brookman and Julian Halls means students hoping to live on campus next year may be in a crunch to find housing. Coyote News' Marissa Brunkhorst investigates.
Last fall, USD experienced the largest incoming class of freshmen that the school has seen in the last nearly decade. This led to students living in designated lounge spaces as the school waited for rooms to open to students. A majority of students living in the lounges were international students. According to Patrick Morrison, that's likely because the length it takes to apply for a visa. While students moved out of the lounges by spring, it is expected that they will be used to house students again next year as they wait for rooms.
Students hoping to secure a room for the next academic year may be out of luck if they are past the 2-year requirement from the Board of Regents.
Housing is urging students beyond the 2-year requirement to opt out of their contracts in an effort to make more room for first and second year students. Housing previously had lots of space for every kind of student. Housing Director Cody Burgraff calls the shortage of space growing pains.
Yep, we're working with campus partners that, whether it's international students or athletes that are required to live on per scholarships or any other different groups of students that I can't think of off the top of my head, we're working with them on an individual case-by-case basis, just like we would do with every student that might have some questions or concerns about housing, and we're, as a university, we're working to put together something for off-campus housing resources, so we're kind of all on the same page there, but we don't have anything quite ready to go with that yet. So it's a case-by-case basis, I guess, is my basic answer to that. We don't have a one-size-fits-all answer to that question right now because every student's going to be coming in a slightly different situation, and we want them to get the education they want. If they want to come to USD, we want to be able to support that.
Burgraff says that all hands are on deck to find housing alternatives and solutions for students looking for rooms. For now, students seeking housing on campus may have to make a different move. For Coyote News, I'm Marissa Brunkhorst.
President Gestring told the Joint Appropriations Committee in January that USD has no intention of building another dorm. Coyote News will continue to follow this story.
The South Dakota Supreme Court ruled last week that affidavits from an investigation into child pornography allegations must be unsealed. In 2019, T. Denny Sanford's accounts were flagged by a technology firm for evidence of child pornography. Sanford, the state's richest man, was not charged, after the South Dakota Attorney General's office said it found no prosecutable offenses within the state's jurisdiction. Sanford had sought to bar affidavits used to issue search warrants in the case, but Sioux Falls Argus leader and ProPublica argued in court documents that they should be made public. The documents are expected to be released by the end of the month. USD's Wachipi is this weekend. Coyote News' Carter Linke is live in the muck to hear what this year's event all entails. Carter?
Thank you, Caitlin. I'm live in the muck with Rachel Overstreet and Jada Canupi, students at the Native American Cultural Center and members of Teoshwe Student Council. Hi, Rachel. Could you explain to us what a Wachipi is?
Sure. So a Wachipi is a Lakota word that means they dance. At USD, our Wachipi is a celebration, a social gathering, and an honoring for veterans.
And how is everyone in Teoshwe preparing for these events?
We've been actually preparing this for the whole year. We have been having meetings every week to make sure that we are on top of our tasks that we've been really looking forward to with this Wachipi.
And what does it mean to have USD support to host this Wachipi?
Sure. So the Wachipi is the largest student-run event on campus and also the longest-running student-led event. So it's always nice to have USD support for what we think is a campus institution.
And what are some of the events that you're most excited for this weekend?
I'm really excited for the princess competition that we'll be holding. We'll have a junior miss, little miss, and Miss Princess Tioshpae.
And how about you, Rachel?
I am most excited for our Tiny Tots competition. It's little kids from the age of 0 to 5 who are just learning how to dance, and it's always my favorite part of any Wachipi.
Perfect. Thank you guys for coming, and good luck on your event this week.
Thank you.
For interested students, grand entry begins at 1 p.m. on Saturday. Live from the Muck for Coyote News, I'm Carter Linke.
Thanks, Carter. The Wachipi is this weekend in the SCSC.
Idea Fest is a 2-day event that USD hosts each spring. It allows both undergraduate and graduate students to showcase research relevant to their academic field of study. Over the course of the event, there are over 100 poster board and oral presentations, along with faculty keynote speakers. Student Maddie Christensen presented her research at this year's Idea Fest. She says it's a cool way to immerse yourself in a professional environment.
I think Idea Fest represents students putting a lot of effort into researching certain topics and finally getting to showcase them to different people in the business world or wherever they are trying to direct their information towards. So it's a cool way to immerse yourself and get some networking in as well.
35 years, Idea Fest has championed research excellence. Those wanting to showcase their research at next year's event can apply next spring.
Coming up, AI's impact on the art scene.
And how students without cars navigate Vermilion.
Hi, I'm Quinn Guinette, president of the Anime Club. And sure, we watch a lot of anime and talk a lot about manga, but the club, it's so much more than that. It is really a place for people with similar interests to come together. This is a very relaxing environment. There are tons of snacks, places to study, and a bunch of different types of anime we see every week. We meet every Tuesday in Become Room 340. So please, come be a part of this community.
In a world where embracing your identity is a privilege not usually given to the members of the LGBTQIA+ community,
the University of South Dakota Spectrum provides community and education for young queer scholars.
Sexuality and identity are defined on spectrums.
And having a community of open-minded, inclusive peers provides safety. Spectrum is one reason all Coyotes can call the University of South Dakota their home.
This is Coyote News.
Over 400 international students call USD home, many of whom navigate the campus without a vehicle. Ghani student Iwuka Sego says USD is a walkable campus, but says getting around town on foot can be tough, especially in the winter.
Summer, I can pretty much walk everywhere, but when it's winter, it's cold, it's snowing, it's windy, it makes it so difficult.
Sego says many international students own bikes or scooters, but find it dangerous to ride through the snow and ice. While public transit is available, she says it gets expensive to take regularly, and having to schedule in advance can be inconvenient. Sego says she wishes the university would provide a shuttle system to help students get around.
Last week's Spectrum drag show's attendance was limited to only those 18 and up, following a new Board of Regents minors on campus policy. In the new letter addressing South Dakota higher education, the Spectrum organization details how the policy didn't provide enough time to fundraise prior to the drag show and ultimately affects member safety on campus. In the letter sent to university personnel and the Board of Regents, Spectrum leaders say they hope to find a solution to their concerns. USD's research continues into the summer. We go back to Carter in the Muck to learn what students work on. Carter?
I'm live in the Muck with Ella Whitmis and Elizabeth Brest, two students with grants to support their research here in Vermilion this summer. Hi Ella, hi Elizabeth.
Hi.
Ella, What is your research?
So my research basically deals with stressed out frogs. So we're basically looking at corticosterone levels in these frogs, which can be increased when they're exposed to these combined stressors. So that'll be like environmental temperature increasing, disease, different contaminants that can go into their environments. And so we're just basically looking at how all of these can affect their corticosterone levels and how that can affect the frogs later in life with like reproduction and stuff like that.
And for you, Elizabeth?
Yeah, so my research is on a new disease detection technology that has come out. It's really similar to PCR, if you're familiar at all. And we're specifically focusing on B-Sal, which is a disease in salamanders that's been really detrimental across the globe. And what's really interesting about this specific technology is that you can actually use it with a variety of diseases. So you can bring it, instead of doing all your research in a lab, you can take out this machine with you into the field and use it in resource-limited settings. So you don't need the high-end technology, and it's just as sensitive and specific, and it works just as well. So it could be really beneficial for communities that don't have the resources they need to detect those kinds of pathogens and things.
And in what ways is USD supporting your research?
So we got grants that we applied for through the UDiscover program, so that will actually fund any type of things that we might need for our research projects.
And for interested students, what is some advice that you might give them when they're starting their research or looking for someone to help support them?
I think the best advice I would give is just to find something that you're really passionate about, that you're interested in, and then look around the different departments even and see if anyone is doing any research that you might be interested in. And feel free to reach out. Professors love to talk to their students. So reach out if there's anything they're doing that's interesting, read some of their papers, and get involved. It's a really great university to get involved in research, so we really appreciate all the support the university has given us.
Perfect. Thank you guys so much, and good luck with your research today.
Thank you.
Live from the Muck for Coyote News, I'm Carter Linke.
Thanks, Carter. UDiscover research applications open in the late fall semester.
ChatGPT and other AI applications are big topics on campus, but not everyone is worried about their impact. As Michael Stake reports, you might be surprised who welcomes this new technology.
One might think that students are excited about the potential of AI, while professors are leery, but computer science chair Casey Santos shares a different perspective.
I have no concern about OpenAI. The reason is the day will come, OpenAI will help people live in a better world. There is no fear.
A student artist says she's a little concerned about an artificial intelligence program called DALL-E.
DALL-E takes artwork and combines it based on what the user searches for. So you can kind of type in any item you want to see in any style or any creature doing whatever you want it to do, and it'll generate an image for you. On one hand, I feel like it's a really helpful tool in terms of generating ideas really quickly. But on the other hand, I know that a lot of working artists kind of have issues with it because a machine doesn't really have the ability to be creative.
Both those that are skeptical of AI and those who embrace it can agree it's a very useful tool that's evolving by the day. For Coyote News, I'm Michael Stake.
Students who use AI as a class tool for classwork may want to have caution. Professors can see if ChatGPT was used on an assignment.
When we come back, we'll check in with Carly Phillips in the Muck to see how easy it is for athletes to be out of compliance.
Dedication, resilience, and devotion. These three words define the USD dance team. As ambassadors of the university, the collegiate dancers engage the crowd on game days, connect with the community through events, and prepare for the UDA College National Championship to represent the university. Dance team is more than just a sport, it's a passion.
Goes on three. 1, 2, 3, go!
is Coyote News.
The rugby team seeks donations for nationals.
And the softball team duels with a Summit League opponent. This is Coyote Sports. I'm Callie Connors.
And I'm Sydney Colin. The women's rugby team is asking for funds for their trip to nationals. To help with the travel costs to the Collegiate Rugby Championships at the end of the month, a GoFundMe to support their travels is located on their Facebook page. They'll compete against schools around the nation in Washington, D.C., hoping to one-up their second-place finish from a year ago. The games will be live-streamed on YouTube for fans to watch.
Members of the track and field team will compete in California this weekend. They hosted a home meet over Easter break. Aaron Kinney claimed a first-place finish in the 100 meters with a wind-assisted time of 10.98 seconds. Eric Hammer cleared a Summit League best 17 feet 1 inch in the pole vault to stand atop the podium. The team will compete every weekend in the lead-up to the Summit League Championships in early May. To be eligible to compete in their sports, athletes need to stay in compliance with NCAA rules. Coyote News' Carly Phillips is live in the muck with USD's Director of Compliance to learn more. Carly?
Thanks, Callie. Summer is fast approaching us, which means many student athletes will be returning to their hometowns. Joining me tonight is Mike Moran, Director of Compliance here at USD, to talk a little bit about how those NCAA rules still affect student athletes even during the summer. Mike, thanks for being here. Now, first of all, training over the summer is very important for student athletes, but are there any specific rules regarding a coaching staff's ability to still contact those athletes over the summer?
Yeah, they can talk to them during the summer. It's just, for most of the sports, I'd say, the student athlete has to ask the coach if they could work out with the coach. If they stuck around here in Vermilion, most athletes, as you probably know, they get out of here. But there are some teams that do practice 8 hours a week here during the summer. That would be football and men's and women's basketball.
So what happens if a student athlete or a coach violates a NCAA rule?
We would have to investigate it and talk to them about it, and if we really did violate a rule, we'd have to speak to the NCAA about it, and basically there'd be a penalty involved. It just depends on what rule was violated and how many times.
So are student athletes allowed to compete in competitions during the summer?
Yes, in certain sports they are, in other sports they're not. I would say most of the time that you see that is in the individual sports, track and field, swimming and diving, that sort of thing. They're allowed to compete on outside what we call amateur teams or club teams during the summer, and they can go back home generally. That's what they do. They go back home and they compete in meets that are not affiliated with USD at all. So.
And finally, pay for play is also a huge theme that the athletic department here at USD really tries to educate athletes on. So when a student is navigating and looking for a job over the summer, how do they make sure that they're not violating any rules in regards to that pay for play rule?
We talk to them at the end of the year, and in fact we're going to have some meetings. I'm going to have some meetings with all the teams in the next few weeks about what you can and cannot do during the summer, and one of those things is make sure that you're not doing anything illegal in terms of pay for play, especially if you choose to get a job during the summer. So yeah, we just got to watch it with them, that's all. And generally everybody tells us, hey, we're just getting paid by our employer, normal rate, that sort of stuff.
Mike, thank you so much
You're
for joining
welcome.
me.
Thanks a lot.
Live in the muck for Coyote News, I'm Carly Phillips.
Thanks, Carly. To learn more about eligibility rules, contact USD's compliance office.
The tennis team takes on Oral Roberts this Friday. Yesterday, they fell 5-2 against Creighton in Sioux Falls. On Friday, the team secured a Summit League win against St. Thomas. In their 6-1 victory, USD won both number 1 and number 3 doubles. The Coyotes also took 5 of 6 single matches. Grace Chaddick earned her 14th singles win of the season, a team high. The Coyotes have just 2 matches left in the spring season. USD's softball plays host to Western Illinois this weekend. During their 3-game series against NDSU, the Coyotes went 1-2. The first game of the weekend saw USD shut out the Bison 8-0. Clara Edwards pitched a complete game on the afternoon. Alicia Saenz was 1 for 1 at the plate. The following day saw the Coyotes fall to NDSU in the remaining 2 games, losing 2-0 and 5-4. The team now sits at a record of 17-17.
The women's golf team will head to the Summit League Championships in less than 2 weeks. In their last meet before the championships, they placed third. Emma Henningsen led the Coyotes, finishing in a tie for 8th. The team had another top 10 finisher with Molly Fawson claiming a share of 10th. The Summit League Championships will be held in Lincoln.
The nice weather has been helpful for spring intramurals that are underway.
So we asked our Twitter followers, out of flag football, softball, volleyball, and golf, which intramural was their favorite.
And it looks like our followers chose both volleyball and golf to be their favorite.
Golf is a great game, and I'm not surprised about volleyball. I'm actually on an intramural team myself.
Oh, well, I either should watch you sometime, Callie, or can I even join?
We're always looking for more players.
Be sure to follow Coyote News on Twitter for more polls just like this one. And that's it for Coyote Sports.
When we come back, we ask students what they find to be overrated or underrated. Stay with us.
Day in and day out. From one field on to the next. Dedicated, restorative, and driven. To the American farmer who represents the roots of our country, we thank you for all you do.
This is Coyote News.
We all have things that either make the cut or don't.
In this week's Out and About, we asked students what's overrated and what's underrated.
Here's what they had to say.
Something overrated is birthdays. It's just a day. Don't worry about it. And something underrated is packing a lunch. I get looks from everywhere about it, and now it's kind of nice. Saves you money.
I think overrated for sure. It's Herberts and Gerberts. It's gross and just not good. And then underrated, I think KFC, a good famous bowl, some fried chicken. So
Qdoba is overrated. Herberts and Gerberts is underrated for sure. That's what I would say.
Something that's overrated, I think, is Lululemon. Something that's underrated, I think, is psych majors.
Something that is definitely overrated is Stanley Cups. There's just no need for them. There's no need for them to be that big. And something that is definitely underrated is the color pink. It definitely makes the world happier, so.
I think Starbucks is very overrated, and I think Kiwis are very underrated.
Chick-fil-A is overrated. Underrated, USD football.
Some people say sleep is overrated. I say definitely underrated. I need a good night's sleep.
For sure. Well, mine might be a little bit of a hot take, but I think Taylor Swift's music's a little overrated.
You're gonna ruffle some feathers with that one.
Well, that'll happen, I guess. So this summer, we'll have a lot of different book-to-movie adaptations hitting theaters. But which is better? We asked our Twitter followers, but what do you think, Landon, the book or the movie?
I think I have to go with reading the book first, but if the movie's good enough, I'll give it props.
Right, well, I don't really read, but I do read the news, but not books, so definitely movie for me.
It looks like most of our followers said the book is always better or it depends. There's a split vote there. Be sure to follow our Twitter page at USD Coyote News to take part in those weekly polls. Earlier this semester, we reported that the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile was stranded in Las Vegas after parts were stolen from underneath it. Well, it'll be back in Vegas this weekend only, this time as a wedding chapel. The mobile hot dog will be parked outside the Little White Wedding Chapel this Saturday and Sunday for the Wienermobile of Love event. Couples who sign up for a time slot will be treated to an all-expenses-paid wedding ceremony led by Oscar Mayer employees, otherwise known as hot doggers. Each ceremony will feature performances by a Wiener Whistle Quartet, with a Wiener cake being served as well. Spokesman Ed Roland says the Oscar Mayer receives thousands of requests each year for the Wienermobile to make stops at weddings. And that's all for Coyote News.
Check out the Volant online for a deeper look into how international students are finding housing.
Listen to 91.1 for news updates throughout the week and for coverage of your USD sports.
Don't forget to follow our social media pages for daily updates and the weekly poll. Have a great night.